This is an ACU Centre for Liturgy podcast. Speaking of liturgy. For Christians, the sacred arts uniquely express the divine and our relationship with God and move us to prayer. Speaking of liturgy, Dr. Angela McCarthy, Senior Lecturer in Theology at the University of Notre in Australia, discusses how art can draw us, through beauty, into the life of God, and encourages communities to consider the importance of art, particularly in relation to places of worship and the liturgy.
For millennia, human beings have expressed their relationship to divine entities through the arts. In our Christian tradition, following our Jewish heritage, the arts have been employed to move us in our worship of God and help us to express our understanding and experience of God. Music has been a crucial way of engagement, as has the architecture of the places in which we gather to give praise. There are, however, many other aspects of art that are included in this sacred area. Vestments have developed in various Christian traditions to be richly ornate and resplendent for the worship of God. Garments from both the Byzantine and Roman Church have many beautiful examples. However, some are not at all appropriate for our current liturgical practices, but the beauty of the handwork and the expression of faith by those who faithfully sew and embroider the vestments speaks of a relationship with God. Texts are another example. Up until the invention of the printing press, there were many scriptoria where monks and lay people would labour to provide liturgical texts and illuminated Bibles for the use of the faithful. This is a wonderful area to explore, and since there's much available on the World Wide Web, digital versions can let us see the magnificence of examples such as the Book of Kells, the Grimani Breviary, and the Rothschild's Prayer Book. The Rothschild's Prayer Book is currently part of the medieval collection of Kerry Stokes here in Perth. I've had the privilege and pleasure of examining this sacred work of art very closely, and it is magnificent. The clarity of colour, the beauty of the illuminations, and the fine detail are deeply moving. They lift the soul to God. In one illumination that I examined very closely, the Annunciation, the words of the Archangel Gabriel are difficult to read with the naked eye, and so we used a magnifying glass to see the words, painted with a single hair. All of this to assist in lifting the heart and mind to God. The new translation of the Roman Missal is impressive in the way it has been produced, with beautiful binding, worthy fine paper, excellent print and rich illuminations. It's worth asking to have a close look at your parish's copy of the Missal. This century, there's been an addition to this art form. The St. John's University and Monastery in Collegeville, Minnesota, have produced the first handwritten and hand-illuminated Bible in 500 years. This is an exceptional work, all done by hand, by a team led by Donald Jackson from his studio in Wales. It's contemporary in its approach, inclusive of genders and ethnicities, and extraordinarily beautiful. And you can find it on your favourite search engine. Just put in stjohnsbible.org. The original, on 1,150 sheets of calfskin vellum, remains in Minnesota, but there is a heritage edition available for loan and purchase, which is the same size as the original, and there's a coffee table size as well. Our liturgical needs since the Second Vatican Council have changed what we require, and we have also been through a relatively sterile period. Many of our churches have images and statues, but no art. There is a difference. Pious statues and images can move us to prayer and remind us of the wealth of tradition that we have in our faith life. An artist, however, is able to move faithful people because the spirit and mind of the artist is able to draw us to different understandings. Art can enrich and deepen our faith as well as challenge it. As Pope Francis said in October 2013, sacred artworks bear witness to the spiritual aspirations of humanity, the sublime mysteries of the Christian faith, and the quest of that supreme beauty which has its source and fulfilment in God. The sacred vessels that we use for the Eucharistic liturgy also need to be worthy and noble, and artists can give us the richness that we need for these items. In January 2021, the Mandela Art Award announced that it would hold a liturgical art exhibition. Unfortunately, the COVID-19 pandemic did not allow for that to happen. The arts sector was severely impacted by the pandemic. This exhibition is once again on the agenda, and we look forward to a rich view of liturgical visual art by Australian artists. This will develop for the Australian Church a number of artists who show capability and desire to serve the Church in this very noble way. For us to be fully, consciously and actively participating in liturgy, we need to be served well by the arts that draw us, through beauty, into the life of God.
That was Dr. Angela McCarthy with Sacred Art, an exploration of the importance of the arts in illuminating faith and drawing us more deeply into God's mystery. The ACU Centre for Liturgy, which provides pastoral formation in liturgy across Australia and beyond, is pleased to provide this podcast, Speaking of Liturgy.